Manchester City boss Pep Guardiola says that the club are in danger of missing out on a place in next season's Champions League. Now, City are currently in their 14th consecutive season in European football's most prestigious club competition. Only Arsenal between 1998 and 2017 and Manchester United between 1996 and 2014 have a longer record of qualifying among English clubs. Now, City are 7th in the Premier League after 17 games, 4 points behind Nottingham Forest in 4th and a point behind 5th placed Bournemouth. Now, England are currently top of UEFA's European Performance Sports table and well placed to secure a 5th place in next season's Champions League, although City would still not qualify, talking about the current standings. Are you surprised to see that Manchester City are currently placed 7th on the EPL table?
Yeah, I certainly am. I think Pep Guardiola has so much success at that club. To see sort of such a downfall within the last few weeks, I think has been a massive surprise. We knew that there was always going to be some sort of blip, but not quite the extent of the blip that we have seen so far, particularly, in the Premier League and the Champions League as well, losing to Juventus. And as you said just earlier, they're prompting those comments from Pep Guardiola. It's a little bit concerning. I, for one, am quite surprised on the form that they are on at the minute. It seems to be that nothing is going in their way, really. So they need something to turn it around. Obviously, they've got the early kick-off in the Premier League this Boxing Day, so they'll be hoping that could be a spur to sort of help turn things around. But I'm definitely surprised in terms of the poor results in the last few weeks for City.
Gilechi, currently they are playing against Everton, and that game is currently goalless at the moment. Manchester City playing at home to Everton. We saw what Everton did with Arsenal. They played at a goalless draw. The same went on between Everton and Chelsea, was also a goalless draw. Are you expecting anything different today, knowing the poor form Man City have been in, and also knowing how formidable Everton's defense can be?
It's actually funny. Just before I joined the show, I was having a conversation with somebody, and we were talking about how we are possibly expecting a goals galore in the Premier League. Part of a Christmas package. And the person made a statement that you see all of the games today, one is most likely going to end in a goalless stalemate. And it's beginning to look like, just based on what you said, it might be this game between Manchester City and Everton. We wouldn't be surprised, considering Manchester City seems to have lost their scoring boots in recent games. They really have struggled to be able to find goals to win games. They do score, but many times not enough to win the matches. And against Everton, that seem to know how to shut everyone out, I wouldn't be particularly surprised if Manchester City come out of this one without even scoring any. But then again, I think it's pretty much difficult to predict around Manchester City these days, because you would expect them to win some of those teams, and somehow it just ends up not going their way. We've seen them play. If it was a case of we saw them play the likes of only Liverpool, Manchester United, and they really did struggle against them, Tottenham Hotspur, it would have been pretty much understandable. But in the mix of things, you have in the Champions League, you have the one against, I've forgotten, Feyenoord, you have the one in the Premier League against Bournemouth. You have a couple of other games that one would have thought this should have been an easy peasy for Manchester City, and especially when they play at home. So yes, I think it's pretty much difficult to predict around City these days. I would have loved to see Manchester City should be able to come back finally in this game against Everton. But honestly speaking, based on recent run, I kind of expect Everton to handle the Boxing Day surprise.
All right, so we'll see how that turns out. If Everton will get to give Manchester City a Boxing Day present, a knockout for Man City. And I have this question before we get to the Boxing Day fixtures proper now. Seb, we know managers who struggle. Take, for example, Sporting Lisbon manager. He has been in a poor run of form, and he has been fired. We have coaches who are legends in their own stand. They get fired after a poor run of games. Ancelotti was fired by Real Madrid when he had a poor run of games at Real Madrid. Is Pep Guardiola unsackable?
That's a good question. Because of the history and because of the trophies that they won under Guardiola, I guess the answer is yes. When he came in and when he's brought all this success, I think City fans and I guess Premier League fans always thought that when he left the club, he would leave the club on his own terms. A little bit like we saw with Jurgen Klopp last season, leaving the club on his own terms. So in that case, I think he is unsackable, yeah. I think because of what he's done for the club, the trophies he's won, the success he's brought, the transformation, in terms of players that we saw right from the first year he came in to compared to now. There's just been such a massive change, but for the better. So I think in that regard, yes, they are in a bad run of form at the minute, but there's no way you can sack him given what he's done, for the club and for Manchester City. So for me, the best way for someone like Pep Guardiola to leave, as I said, would be to be like his counterpart from Liverpool last season, like Jurgen Klopp, take that step back. I don't think that'll be anytime soon, given he's just signed a 2-year recent contract. So I think he's unsackable.
All right, we'll see how that turns out for Pep Guardiola, if he would leave the club on his own terms, or let's just see how it turns out for Pep Guardiola. With that, let's take a look at the Boxing Day fixtures. One is currently ongoing, Manchester City taking on Everton, currently goalless at the moment. And Bournemouth to take on Crystal Palace. Chelsea versus Fulham. There is Newcastle United taking on Aston Villa. Nottingham Forest to take on Tottenham Hotspur. Southampton versus West Ham. Wolves will take on Manchester United. Liverpool will battle it out with Leicester City. Seb, which of these games are you looking out for?
For me, I am sort of looking at, I guess we've got the Southampton-West Ham one, because Southampton have just put in their new manager. So it'll be interesting to see if there is a new manager bounce. West Ham have struggled so far this season. Things aren't really firing that much under Lopetegui. So that one, it is an interesting one for me, as in, the manager's only been in a couple of years at Southampton. How much sort of impact has he had on the training ground against a West Ham side that are struggling and certainly not doing as well as they have done in previous years? So, that would probably be the standout game for me in terms of sort of two clubs that are struggling at the wrong end of the table and two clubs that want to change their form in the near future for sure.
All right, Jidechi, Chelsea will take on Fulham. Fulham have been quite impressive so far this season, and it looks like a banana peel for Chelsea. Yes, they played at a goalless draw against Everton, and some opposing fans have said the downslope has begun for Chelsea. Is that true?
I choose to disagree, speaking. I think one thing, Chelsea are not making the title conversations exciting this season. They need to admit that they are title contenders, and then let's treat them as that. Downslope, definitely not. It's one of the things that happens in a 38-week football season. You cannot expect every team to win every game. We've had unbeaten runs. Yes, last season we saw the likes of Bayer Leverkusen in history. We have Arsenal's invincibles. Yes, we have teams that go the entire season without losing a single game. But one thing we are yet to see is a team that would go a full season in any league in the world, no matter the country, no matter the continent. We are yet to see a league where we have a team win all games in a season. So yes, points will be dropped. It's not even like Chelsea lost the game last week that we are talking about. Chelsea, the downward spiral have begun. Yes, they did lose a game. Doesn't mean that it's the end of the world. They still have more games to come back, and I'm expecting that they definitely would come back. Like I said, I started this by saying Chelsea needs to admit, Chelsea fans watching this, Chelsea fans wherever they are, they need to admit at this point that they are in title conversations. Because Enzo Maresca has somehow turned the ship on this club, and I'm expecting that they would be delivering even more than they have so far so good. So yes, this is not the end for Chelsea. There is more to come for Chelsea.
Seb, Liverpool takes on Leicester City, a chance for them to remain top of the log until 2025. Do you think Leicester City have what it takes to stop Liverpool, or to be an outward drawn for Liverpool?
I don't think Leicester will have enough to stop them, really. I think Liverpool are an absolute force to be reckoned with. We've seen that with the current lead at the top of the table. I think Arne Slot has got them playing some beautiful football, and every time they go forward, it just look like scoring. Leicester, meanwhile, every time, the defence it just looks really shaky. They look like they're getting torn apart every time a team comes and attacks through them. And I feel like it's a recipe for disaster for Leicester. And so I can only see one winner in that one, and that winner will certainly be Liverpool. Yeah, I can definitely see sort of Liverpool extending their lead at the top headed into the new year for sure. Leicester cannot stop them, no way.
Right. Interesting games to look out for today, talking about the Boxing Day matches. There's also Nottingham Forest versus Tottenham Hotspur. When I took a look at the table, I was actually surprised to see that Manchester City are behind teams like Nottingham and Bournemouth on the table. And I'm wondering, even Aston Villa, it is quite strange to see Manchester City in this position. But putting you on the spot, Seb, we've seen Man City do this. We've seen Liverpool top the table and still lose the league to Man City. Do you think it's just 17 games? Today is the match day 18. Do you think Man City will come from 7th position to finish in Champions League position, in as much as Pep Guardiola has said that it is going to be a big miss for City because it's looking unlikely for it to happen?
Yeah, I think they are. I mentioned a little bit earlier on in terms of, Pep Guardiola's pedigree. He'll not be very happy at all with their current league place, so he'll be doing as much as he can to try and change that as quick as possible. So without doubt, I can definitely see Manchester City in those top 4 spots come the end of the season. It might take a little bit of time, but I'm 100% guaranteed that they will be in that top 4. And Pep Guardiola will not accept otherwise. He wants to win the league every year. If he can't do that, then he wants to get top 4, and that's sort of the minimum expectations. They can't not meet that, if that makes sense. So they're definitely going to be in the top 4. I think they're just on a little bit of a blip. I think other teams around them are doing better, and it'll not be long before I think that they'll catch up and sort of, as you mentioned earlier, sort of leapfrog the likes of Nottingham Forest and Bournemouth as well to achieve those Champions League spots.
All right. Thank you very much, Seb Jones, for joining us. I'll let you go enjoy the Boxing Day fixtures and enjoy the rest of the festive celebrations. Thank you very much.
Thank you kindly. Happy Christmas, one and all. Cheers.
All right. Cheers to you too. And Jidechi, I would also let you go have that chicken and turkey that I see you swinging somewhere around the corner. So thank you, Jidechi, for joining us on the show today. We look forward to having you again.
Yeah, thank you for always having me. Merry Christmas to you too.
Merry Christmas.